Welcome back to the Global Business Report. Less than 24 hours after a Boeing 737-500 aircraft belonging to AIB skidded off the runway at Port Harcourt International Airport, the Accident Investigation Bureau, AIB, said its investigators will retrieve the cockpit voice recorder, that's the CVR, and flight data recorder, FDR, to ascertain the circumstances leading to the accident. And joining me in the studio to tell us more is the General Manager, Public Affairs Accident Investigation Bureau, Tunji. Oketumbi, it's good to have you with us. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, I'm going to start with the AIB incident. I know it's still a fluid and developing story, as it were, but can you shed more light on this?
Yeah, we had that aircraft on approach to landing, and as soon as it landed, I think it carried off the runway. That's what we call runway excursion. So it got stuck in the mud there, and the passengers were evacuated, and there was no injury. That was what we had.
Okay.
And then we went in to commence an investigation.
All right.
So we have been doing that, and then the investigation is ongoing.
It's ongoing, very good. And we can see, even from the visuals we're looking at, the weather was very wet on that
same
day.
It was raining.
It was raining hard,
yeah.
We can see that as well. But in such a situation, what do you do when it comes to related issues like that?
Well, the purpose of investigation is to prevent future reoccurrence of similar incident.
Indeed.
So what we are going to be looking at is why did we have that kind of a situation?
Yeah.
The pilot had absolute control over the aircraft.
Yeah.
He has weather briefing as to know what is going to happen at the destination. So he has the discretion to know whether he wants to land or not. And if he lands, how is he going to land and all those things. So what we are going to be looking at is what checklist did he use, what was the state of the aircraft, what were the on-the-ground tool, the state of the runway, the state of the airport generally. We're going to be looking at the operations of the airline itself.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at the pilots, their background, their training, their state of mind, and all those things we are going to be looking at. And for now, we have retrieved the flight recorders. That is the one you mentioned earlier, the cockpit voice recorder, and the flight data recorder. The cockpit voice recorder will give us insight into what we are discussing. Their conversation with the control tower, and what they were saying among themselves, or even to the announcement to the passengers. Too, we're going to know how the evacuation was also ordered. We're going to be looking at that, because that was also very important. If you don't do it well, the people can get injured.
Okay.
So the flight data recorder will give us accurate information about the state of the engine, the state of the aircraft itself, and vital components of that aircraft. How are they working? And also gives us the movement, the flight of that flight until it came to a stop. When it's had contact with the runway, what happened, where did it, all those things will be given by the flight data recorder. So what this tool will be doing is to narrow down our areas of search, because they would have eliminated a lot of things that we'll be looking at.
Indeed.
Yeah. So if for now, we are looking at that, and then we'll be retrieving the books relating to the maintenance of that aircraft, regardless of whether the aircraft was airworthy or not or whatever. It's just a routine thing to do.
Okay.
Then we're going to be looking at the background of the pilots. When last did they go for training? Were they certified to fly and all those things? It's a very tedious process.
Yes, it's a tedious process, but it's a necessary protocol. And you've mentioned a lot here, and a sequence of events, as it were. Very good, Mr. Oketumbi. Now, one would have expected, just interestingly, you mentioned the issue of weather forecast.
Yes.
You should be able to know at least an idea of what the weather is like at your destination, and one would have wondered why he took that decision before taking off, and we saw how you know, terrible the weather was.
We'll be preempting the investigation.
All right.
Like I said, the pilot in command has the prerogative to determine whether to land or not.
Okay.
It's with him. The control tower will give him the weather situation.
Indeed.
Here in this place, this is the temperature, this is the wind, this is the humidity.
All right.
They will give him all the necessary information about that destination. And he can feel that, yeah, I can land.
Okay.
So the condition of the runway too, we have to be looked into to know when last was it, when was it constructed, how long have we used it, what is the state now, and all those things. So there are so many factors that you have to look at. You have to know, and when we have done this, we do our analysis.
Okay.
And then we'll now be able to say, okay, this is the probable cause of this incident or accident.
Okay.
And then these are the things to do for you to prevent it from happening in the future, or similar incident from happening in the future. So we make safety recommendations. Indeed. And these safety recommendations are passed on to relevant authority like the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority and to the airlines, and then they will, take care of that.
And even key component as well, talking about the manufacturers, the aircraft, are they going to be contacted in any way regarding this?
Of course, anywhere in the world where the aircraft belonging to a particular manufacturer has an issue like that, they are alerted.
Very good.
They will also be interested. They want to know, because sometimes it could be manufacturer's defect. It could be, so they are interested in the outcome of the investigation.
Okay.
And that is why we normally tell airlines that once they have any incident, they should notify AIB for several reasons. Apart from the fact that it's a critical leg of aviation safety, where you know what has happened, and then you are able to formulate ways of preventing it from happening. Two, we have to inform the country of design and the country of manufacture about that incident, about so that they will be expecting the report to, and the country of a state of operator. For example, the operator may not be a Nigerian operator, and it's happening here. They need to let us know so that we can also inform their state. Indeed. So there are so many things that are tied to that activity, which is accident investigation. But it's not only accident that we investigate incident in order to prevent them from degenerating to accident. So we play a very critical role in aviation safety. Okay. But because we are a small organization and then we don't make so much noise and things that our work is usually at the background, a lot of people don't know what we do. But we play a critical role. And right now, the international community has a lot of hope on Nigerian Accident Investigation Bureau. We're about the only well-structured, independent accident investigation body in the West Africa, and in fact, all of maybe including Central Africa. In Africa, we don't even have to 3 or 4 of that. And we have our own laboratory. We have all these...
for forensic testing and all that?
Yes, this FDR and the CVs that we have just downloaded. Okay. We have just retrieved from that
So you don't have to take it abroad?
No, we just take it to Abuja. We have a laboratory in Abuja where they are going to download the information, decode it, and use it for analysis.
Okay, and that's an interesting development, and it's heartwarming to know that at least we have that technology to be able to discern
we do.
Very good. And you notice incidences like this are far in between. 5, 10 years ago, we used to have all sorts of incidences, but there's been a lull in that, and that's a positive development. Now, in this regard, you talked about structures. How does one differentiate what you do from the NCAA and how you work together?
Okay. NCAA is in charge of regulation. They regulate the industry. Okay. Apart from us. They regulate all other service providers in the industry.
Good.
There are regulations, there are laws, there are ICAO recommendations, there are a lot of things. They are in charge of ensuring that airlines and other service providers conform with those regulations. So they do not take kindly providers, violating any of their regulations. We investigate if there's any problem in the course of, let me put it this way. Aviation safety stands on 3 legs.
All right.
Regulation, operation, regulation, and accident investigation.
Okay.
Okay. So the operators, it could be airline operator, it could be airport operator, it could be all other operators within the industry. Then NCA regulates them. If in the course of that, the two of them interface and interact, if there's a problem, then we come in.
All right.
Then the two of them, both the regulator and the regulated, come under investigation.
Okay.
We investigate the two of them together.
All right.
So we want to know if NCA was actually doing its job, and if it was doing it well. Before are you doing your oversight job well? Okay, if you are doing it well, what happened? So we look at all that. So they become subject of investigation too. And so when we are finished and we have done our job, we have made safety recommendation, we still pass it to NCA to implement. We don't have power to implement our own recommendations.
Oh. So your organization is semi-autonomous, as it were?
Yes, so to say. We are actually autonomous.
Okay.
We are the only aviation agency in the law tagged autonomous.
Okay.
We are the only one given that title, autonomous agency.
So how have you been able to use that as a sort of advantage over getting your work done, as it were?
Well, we have the power to do, under the law, to do what we are doing. We can summon anybody. It's like a court. The investigator has the power to subpoena anybody.
On a particular incident?
Yeah, on a particular incident, yeah.
Right.
So you have the backing of the law to do that. Also, virtually everybody in the aviation industry recognizes that.
Okay.
So they also try to conform. All right. Where they do not, we warn them. If necessary, we cry out.
Very good. I would like you to hold your thoughts on that. We have to go on a break, Mr. Oketumbi. So, okay. All right, we'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. All right, it's good to have you back on Global Business Report. And I still have Tunji Oketumbi of the Accident Investigation Bureau, AIB, in Nigeria. And we've been talking about the airplane incident that skidded off the runway not too long ago. And just before we left on the break, we're talking about the autonomous nature of your agency to be able to carry out its responsibilities. And when we went on break, you mentioned 1 or 2 thoughts.
Okay, now, the International Civil Aviation Organization several years ago, many years ago, recommended that every state should separate its accident investigation body from the ministry, from the government, and from the Civil Aviation Authority.
All right.
And you remember that in 2005, 2006, there was a spate of accidents in Nigeria.
Indeed.
So the government tried to do a reform. So they now decided that they wanted to comply with that directive from ICAO.
All right.
Before that time, AIB was a department in the ministry, Federal Ministry of Aviation, known as Accident Investigation and Prevention Bureau, AIPB. So they now carved it out of the ministry in order for it to be able to overcome all this bureaucratic nature of where you want to go. For example, if there's an accident somewhere,
all right,
we don't need to go through all the rigors of the ministry or whatever to get fund. We even send our investigators ahead. Go. By the time you get their money, will be waiting for you in your account.
So there are no excuses.
There's no excuses.
All right.
Then, okay, we can, if it's possible, we can charter helicopters, charter this or do that or whatever. And so it's an autonomous body with its own financial accounting system.
All right.
So we get our budget from the National Assembly and maybe from the ministry too, and other sources of funding. Okay. But we are autonomous, we are able to carry, and we are not looking at anybody. We are not looking over our back or our shoulders to see whether somebody is looking down on. And want to say, since I've been working here, and I think I've been here for almost from the beginning, no government has tried to influence the report that we write. None. And I'm saying this with all sense of honesty.
All right, that's heartwarming to know. Okay, Mr. Tunji Oketumbi of the Accident Investigation Bureau, I'd like to thank you for your thoughts on those issues. It's good to have you with us. Many thanks.
You're welcome.